Greetings and welcome to Kinesiology 214 Orientation and Overview. This presentation is designed specifically to go over some of the finer points regarding how the course is laid out, how the course will be managed, access to the syllabi, access to the content layout, and quite frankly, how I deliver content as an instructor. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. I try to make it very easy to be reachable, and this is my email address. Harper drops off the last letter of my last name, which makes me Adrian Fleisch as opposed to Fleischer. You can refer to me, feel free to refer to me as Adrian. I've had people refer to me as Coach, that's fine as well. But just realize that when you email me, Harper drops my last letter of my last name to accommodate their format for sending and receiving emails. So I'm afleisch@harpercollege.edu. That will be found in Blackboard as well, and I'll go over that in a second. So if you ever need to reach me, that is the best way. With my position as an adjunct professor, I don't necessarily have a physical office. Yes, I do work out of the adjunct office, but a physical office with my own desk, etc., and my own little space and place, I don't have that. So you can call this number, and it dumps into a voicemail system, but I just won't pick up that message as readily as I would if you sent me an email, which I usually return within about 24 hours. Weekends, maybe a little bit longer, but that's a pretty quick turnaround there, very slow turnaround here. Our class is scheduled for Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. to 9:45 p.m. and the meeting location is in M Building, and it's in the room adjacent to the fitness center, so it's M2510. When you come in, there will be a front desk, and you may have to at first, until they get acclimated to you and recognize your face, you might have to just go up and explain to them, hey, I'm here for Kinesiology 214, and I'll alert them of the class session so they'll know at the front desk. But the way it sets up is you'll come in, you'll have to just address and check in with them, and then go down to the classroom. It's all the way down the hallway, left-hand side, last door before the fitness center. I put in this presentation a link to the syllabus and a link to the course layout. So for each of these, you can just do a control click, and it'll take you right out to either the syllabi or the layout. And I will explore these in depth later on, but I wanted to put these links in here for your benefit so you'd have them. Much of the information I'm going over today in this presentation has or can be found in the syllabi. With important course dates, this is also a good one for most people to go over, and this is taken right from the syllabi. With the course dates, you do have 1 week where you have no class on Labor Day. That's a Monday. That's not our class. That's all classes on campus. But we do have 2 important dates that we always like to make students aware of. The first is last day to drop for a 100% refund is Monday, August 31st, and last day to withdraw from the course completely would be Monday, November 23rd. Hopefully none of you are in that position where you have to do that, but we always put those in there for students so they know. We do have Thanksgiving holiday where we will not be having specifically our class, and then we resume on November 30th. And then we go right into the final grind into finals week and go into the last couple weeks before the end of the term. So this is taken right from the course content and course description from the university. And this class is designed specifically for students who wish to be fitness practitioners to learn more about how to operate in that arena, how to use exercise as a tool, how to implement exercise as a modality for prehab rehab, how to correctly implement exercise in different exercises without or at least minimizing the possibility of injury. And there is some functional anatomy, there is some strength training techniques, there is some program design, so all of these will tie together. And there's a little bit of consultation and interview strategies as well when you're talking with somebody on an intake. The outcomes of this course, there are several, and you're looking specifically at how to properly work out, how to properly train, how to put yourself in a position where you train without injury, how you can work with clients. And then the other part of this, which you have to understand behind the scenes, is this is also designed to help prepare you best for your practicum. So as you go through the program at Harper, the end course is that fitness practicum where you're actually training people. And this is one of those classes, Kines 214, where it gives you that opportunity to work kind of hands-on with each other in a non-threatening, kind of welcoming environment and a coached environment through your instructor. And it gives you a chance to actually implement what you're learning in a safe environment and get constructive feedback along the way. So realize there's a couple of big picture things going on outside of what you see on the screen here. Further, when you're working with individuals as a professional, you have to kind of explain things to people. You have to prepare people correctly. You have to set expectation correctly. And, there are certain variables that you have to integrate into any workout. And this class is designed to expose you to those and begin to integrate those in the initial stages of this process, and then be able to implement different modalities in a more complex manner and use those as a tool as a means to an end with your clients. So each class begins at 8:30 promptly. I try not to screw around and get caught at the water fountain, etc. I like to get in, get it done, and get out. We'll be using every single minute of this class time, no doubt. I've taught this class before when it was actually 2 hours and 15 minutes in length, I think it was, and I had to cram a lot of content in a short amount of time. So here we go. The way it'll break out is this. You're going to have about 30 minutes of lecture. It's going to be 30 minutes of lab. We're going to be hands-on in the fitness center, and about 15 minutes to debrief at the end. Now, depending upon the content, depending upon what we're working on, depending where we are in the semester, you might have more or less time allocated in each area. But these are your three kind of main areas we're going to focus on: lecture, lab, and debrief. And your time might adjust however slight for each one of those, but I'm going to try to adhere to that schedule during the entire course. So we have 17 sessions scheduled for this course, and the main overarching content areas will be human anatomy and physiology, exercise modalities, and training methodology. But realize, because of the complexity of the profession you're going into, it's not as though it's going to be human anatomy, physiology, boom, there's an exam. Exercise modalities, poof, there's another exam. And training methodology, and there's a third exam. Because you're going to be learning these all together as you go through this course. And you're going to be learning how to shine focus, if you will, to each one of these as you work with clients in a training environment. And it's not going to be exact 33%, 33%, 33% for every session, but realize you're going to have some of each. And some other areas as well, some functional areas, including communication, both verbal and nonverbal communication with your clients will be factored in as well. But these are your three main overarching areas for the course. And the biggie, right? Oh my goodness, how do we get our points? How do we get our grade? And, I always try to get this across to students, whether it's this class or my 100 level course. You have this kind of academic equity that you're working on, and your equity translates when you transfer to Northwestern or U of I or wherever you wish to go. And, you pay to get into the school by taking money out of your pocket and paying to get into school, but also you pay to get into that school by having good grades. And I can't stress this enough. Every single assignment, every single point is like another nickel or a dime or a quarter that you're putting in your little academic piggy bank as you earn your grades to get into the U of I and the Northwesterns. And so while there's a financial component, absolutely right, there's also that academic component. And please don't neglect this in my class or other classes, because there is an economic value to getting good grades. And here's your roadmap to the promised land, right? You're going to have 11 check for learning assignments. These will be assignments that will be based on the information that's presented in class. 6 virtual labs where you'll go on to Blackboard, and they'll be up, everything will be on Blackboard. But you have 6 virtual labs that you'll go in, review video, answer questions regarding topics that you learned in class. And then you're going to have actual in-class labs that we're going to work on different body parts and different exercises and modalities, where you're going to work on those and answer questions as we go through the lab portion of the class. You are also going to have a hands-on midterm where you're going to be working with another person, hands-on, and a hands-on final. Now realize I'm having all students in the class, as well as myself, grade this final, and I take an average, drop the high, drop the low, take an average score on different functional areas of communication, spotting, information flow, setting expectation, and description for a particular exercise. And so each person will be assigned an exercise, and we'll talk more about this, but then you'll be evaluated by your peers and myself on how well you do. And then the final exam. That'll be written. That'll probably fall right in the range of about 25 questions at 2 points apiece. And then attendance and participation, excuse me, you're looking at 17 sessions, 5 points apiece, 85%. So now you can kind of strategize your grade and kind of figure out how you can allocate your time most effectively to get the most points out of this class. Now, if we go to the next slide, this is always a big question too, right? What do I need to get that 90% and get that A, to get on the A train? And this is it, right? You need 472 points. So if you look back to the previous slide, you can kind of figure out your strategy and how you're going to accumulate those points. Get those, I always jokingly say, get your rake out and rake up those nickels, dimes, and quarters to add up to that 472 to get you that grade, to get you the A. So with lecture, you'll have particular body parts we're going to work on, or perhaps a particular modality or style of training. And we'll end up going over, say, this is a bicep, this is the arm group, this is a multi-joint exercise, etc. And you'll just have to answer questions regarding those topics for the in-class laboratory assignments. For the homework assignments, believe me, I try not to like show you something shiny with my left hand and slap you with my right hand. I try to be very straightforward and try to deliver content that supports what we're learning in class, but also reinforces the learning process. So again, I'm not trying to trick you on this stuff, so don't ever overthink one of my homework assignments. Just realize the content is designed to reinforce what we're learning in class, not confuse you further. With all assignments, and you'll see this on the layout, you have 1 week minus a minute. That's the way I always describe it. If it's assigned today, you have 1 week all the way up until 11:59 p.m. Right? So if it's assigned on a Friday, you have up until Thursday at 11:59 p.m. to get it done. Don't procrastinate. In the lecture, you know, I've been doing this for like 25 years between coaching in college, working with clients, teaching in studios, working in a medical practitioner group. You know, I tend to layer in a bunch of good stories and information and things I've learned in clinics and just in my experience. And I urge you to, you know, not for the sake of just hearing me talk, but just make sure you're in class, because there's usually pretty good information flow. Now, some of the lectures will definitely be taking information from the textbook, but it won't be textbook heavy, just so you know. Yeah, the overarching goal, as I mentioned before, is to prepare you for the practicum, and part of the practicum is being able to work with clients. And so, you know, I want you to have this like ball of knowledge in your head that you can just kind of draw on, to pull on when you work with your clients, whether it's in a practicum or moving forward as a physical therapist, a trainer, or a coach. So the lab, as I mentioned, 30 minutes. You definitely will be more workout oriented, and you'll definitely be moving. You'll be working on some stuff and working on exercises and get a feel for what your clients or patients might be going through. And with my organization in the class, and I did this in undergrad to grad school, I tend to use a Roy G. Biv, if you remember that from elementary school, with colors format. And I go red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, and I'll use that and color codify everything. So you'll see, like here, week 3 to week 4. Week 3 is the end of module 1, and then you go into week 4. That's the beginning of module 2. You change colors. You go from red to orange. So you know, if you're looking at orange slides, and you'll notice in the background, this slide is red. It's in the red phase of the class. If it's an orange slide or a yellow slide, that's further on in the course. If you're looking at something red and you're studying for perhaps week number 8, you're looking at the wrong dang color. So just realize, Roy G. Biv, I use it as a way to kind of organize. And, you know, I teach like 4 or 5 classes at a time. It really helps me, and I got to think as a student, it would really help you. I kind of keyed into this after I went to Harper, and after I left Harper and I went to my undergrad, UW Whitewater, that's where I kind of keyed into this color codification. And man, it was like lights out for me. It was a big difference in terms of being able to be organized. All right, so from here, I'm going to jump over into a Blackboard presentation and end this one. So if you have any questions, please send me an email and I will get back to you. Be well and be on the lookout for the next presentation. Thanks, guys.